Let's do this. The Cult of Hockey podcast by the faithful and for the faithful. I'm David Staples of the Edmonton Journal, and I'm here tonight with Bruce McCurdy. Hey, Bruce, that looks like a warm coat or sweatshirt you're wearing. What is it?
Yeah, it's an Edmonton skyline, and it's got the names of many of the great Oilers of all time. If you read
I like
close
that.
up, it's got a Curry and a Gretzky and a Tikkanen well,
I
right
want
up
that.
right up to speed. Yeah, it's really good, and it's a skyline. So,
You're a fashion trendsetter. You could be an influencer, man. Like,
oh yeah,
what else would you
and
have,
you
Bruce?
never
What
know
else?
what shows up under the tree, man.
What
Every
fine
once in a while,
food,
something nice.
you could
Uh-huh.
take Instagram photos of what you're eating and the
Uh-huh.
places you go for walks, and I guess it's a full-time job. Alrighty. Big win for the Oilers, Bruce. Every win,
Yeah.
every win's a when you're below 500, every win's a big win. But now they
Oh,
have scraped back to real
got to win
500,
games.
and 3-1 win over the Ottawa Senators. Solid defensive game. Just they really shut down the Senators, except for the 3 or 4 or 5 5 alarm chances that Mike Smith had to face. All right, let's do our two good things, two bad things, and two numbers podcast. And because it's an Oilers win, we will go with two good things each. Bruce, what's your first good thing?
Yeah, I really enjoyed that game. I thought Oilers played well. It was a sort of a taut game. It was tense, but they paid a lot of attention to detail. I'm going to single out, or triple out, I guess, the entire line of Leon Draisaitl, Khaira Yamamoto, and Dominic Cahoon for a very strong performance with a number of dominant shifts in Ottawa territory. Most notably, the shift that resulted in the game tying goal, 1-1, a crucial goal for a long time. It was 1-0 for Ottawa on that real strange goal that they got, and you're thinking, I've seen 1-0 games before where the only goal was an oddball goal like that, but they tied it up with some great zone pressure for probably 45 seconds, and it looked like Ottawa had a chance to clear the puck 2 or 3 times, and each time the Edmonton player would come over and win like a 40-60 puck battle, either along the boards or eventually Dominic Cahoon made a spectacular play really down low in front of the net to steal the puck away and diving chip it over to Draisaitl, who made no mistake burying it between the pads of Matt Murray, who had a strong game but was twice beaten 5-hole from close range, and that was uh, that was good. It was. I think they read your article, David, because they were trying to set up Leon to shoot tonight. Did you notice that? They had a 2-on-1. Leon fed it over to Yamamoto, and Yamamoto tried to feed it back to Leon, even though he was covered, because he'd probably read your post and thinking,
You're gonna put that
I've
on
been
me?
too much of a puck hog. I better pass it to Leon. and,
I'll take
and
the heat.
Leon did have 5 shots on net in this game to lead the team, and he also dominated again in the face-off circle, 14-8, and he got a secondary assist on the game-winning goal as well. That was scored during a line change, but it was I just thought that line was strong, and they had strong shot shares. I mean, shot attempts on and Leon's minutes were 24-11 against. Like that's pretty good, solid control over 15 plus minutes of 5-on-5 hockey. Cahoon was 17-8, so more of the same, basically a 2-to-1 ratio. And I like their battle level, and I like their smarts defensively. Leon made some good defensive plays tonight, and they had um, not a lot of huge trouble in their own end of the ice, to my eye.
Yeah, Leon had at even strength, Bruce. He had two grade A scoring chance shots, which
Mhm.
equals his entire total for the year up until now. I was just searching grade 8 shots and on our main document, and I was just flabbergasted when I saw
Mhm.
that. I just couldn't believe that he has not had more scoring chances at even strength. Last year, I think in 71 games, he had 93 grade A shots at even strength. This year, he had 2 in 13 going into the game. So, I think he's taken on the role of playmaker on that line. I think Nugent Hopkins set him up for a lot of chances. And I think, I still think Draisaitl works best with a playmaker. I mean, he is a great playmaker, that said, and he's made a lot of assists, but it'd be good to have someone setting him up a lot. And so Cahoon did that tonight. That was a great hustle play in front of the net by Cahoon. And all the players on that line were just great. The only mistake, the bad one, was Yamamoto's turnover that led to a
fair breakaway.
Yeah,
that one.
That one. Yeah. That was not good. As for the game, I liked the game as it went along. I liked the game more and more as it went along. That first period was about as boring a first period as we've seen all year, though, Bruce. There was one grade A chance the whole first period, and I decided both teams looked fairly flat. But the game was strong, and the Oilers this is one of the few times, Bruce, this is where the Oilers looked like a competent defensive hockey team, able to protect the lead once they got it and shut down the other team. So that's what I liked about the game. My first good thing will be the game of Tyler Ennis. This is the kind of game that Tyler Ennis had repeatedly last year. It's the kind of game that earned him a contract. And if he keeps playing like this year, it will keep him in the lineup. It was really one of the first games that he's played well. I think he's actually been trending up, though. He was just rancid at the start of the year, but he has been trending up, and this was easily his best game. And he was flying out there all night long. He made 4 major contributions to grade A scoring chances at even strength, not one mistake against on a scoring chance. And the goal he scored was fantastic. It was just the kind of thing that a team needs if it's going to win games. They need their bottom line guys, third and fourth line guys, to make plays like that every now and then. And if Ennis can do that, that's a major contribution. He also stole the puck in the third period and whipped it over to McDavid, who set up Puljujarvi for a great chance. So great plays by Tyler Ennis.
Another sweet play. Like, he really had his hands tonight. He was dangling efficiently, and he made a real nice cut play in the second period to cut inside and lift one, ring it off the near side goalpost. That was a very nifty play, and just jumping and chipping in on the attack, which, as you say, we just haven't had any of that from the bottom six. Anyway, Ennis got the winning goal tonight to break open a 1-1 tie in the third period. And before tonight, the Oilers had 6 wins, and the game-winning goals were distributed 3 by McDavid, 3 by Draisaitl, none by the entire rest of the team. So it's about flipping time that the rest of the team started to chip in. And game-winning goals, some of it's a little bit cheesy. I mean, one of Draisaitl's was when Stützle scored with 30 seconds left to make a 4-1 game 4-2 last week. But other times when the game winner breaks a tie in the third period, or the last second of the third period or overtime, it's a huge goal. And Ennis's was tonight, about 6 minutes into the third, and it was a tight game. It was pretty clear the next goal was pretty likely going to be good enough.
Yeah, they have a weird way of counting game-winning goals in it. Like, they should maybe the final go-ahead goal. He set up Tyson Barrie on a really good chance too. Ennis did. So, how'd you like a third line of maybe Nygaard, Haas, and Ennis? That'd be fast.
Speedy.
Bruce, what's your second good thing?
I'm going to give a hats off to Mike Smith, the beleaguered, embattled Mike Smith, goalie who hasn't played a minute for the Oilers all year and has been the object of numerous epithets from around the hockey world.
Ridicule from many in the
He's a bad goalie. Oh yeah, he's old, and he got hurt because he's old. And he got hurt and he missed a bunch of time, and he came back tonight and he was right on his game, to my mind. He looked confident. He moved the puck pretty good. I think the fact the Oilers were more organized defensively may have something to do with that. And that's something I'm going to watch for. Last year, the Oilers had better defensive results with Mike Smith than they had with Koskinen. They allowed 3 fewer shots per game in those games. And I don't know if it was puck moving. I don't know what it was. But tonight, there was a whole lot less of the miscommunication on the back end that we've been seeing. And I don't know if getting a little sort of tough love from behind in the net or what's going on, but the team in front of him played well, and he didn't, in truth, face that many tough shots. He didn't have a prayer on the one that went in that you're going to talk about in a minute. That was a perfect shot, top corner on a breakaway by Adam Larson. And it was, the tough shot, like he was seeing the puck, he was reacting, like he reacts late, like the puck is almost on him, and all of a sudden he just springs out and he gets a piece of it, and it's kind of nerve-wracking. And when he's not on his game, well, bad things happen. But tonight he was making those reactions and making those saves. He made one absolutely enormous save off that Yamamoto giveaway that you were talking about earlier. Well, Ottawa was ahead 1-0 at that point. That would have made it 2-0. And the way Matt Murray was playing, I mean, Louis DeBrusk said it right at the time, that's a game saver. And I don't think he was wrong, because it kept him within touch of the game, and they eventually found a way to get one, and then the second one, and Smith slammed the door at the other end, and what was it, 6 grade A chances against, so it wasn't like he was
but there was some
but there were some tough ones, and he had the answers, and I just thought the team settled down. And again, it's hard to say, well, it's because he was in there doing this or that, or organizing things from behind, but I do think the team responded well, him being in there, and he responded well, playing his first full game in 11 months.
Yeah, they needed a change, Bruce. I was thinking they desperately kind of needed some change up after the Calgary game, because it was just they just were not playing. That was such a terrible game in so many ways, and he obviously provided that. There was the breakaway save that he made, and then there was the 2 saves at the end of the second period when the Ottawa was in the power play. 2 bang chances, just what I call the 5-alarm scoring, not just grade A, but the 5-alarm, 33% plus scoring chance, where they really have a great opportunity. I think Smith's reputation in Edmonton, Bruce, suffered dramatically from sour taste in your mouth bias based on that one playoff game. And it really, and I think I suffered from it. I've been suffering from it, because when you look at his season last year, like, I'm not saying he was a good bet going into this season, and I don't think they would have made the bet if they could have got a different goalie at a decent price. They tried, obviously, but he had 2 great runs last season when he was a very good NHL goalie, and when he wasn't, he was injured. Now, the problem is he's old. He's going to get injured, so that should be at the top of your mind. This is why old NHL players break down and no longer perform. But I think that really that terrible game he had, first period he had against Chicago in the playoffs, really stayed with all of us. And it was hard to shake that, and thinking about him coming in and being that goalie who for probably 20 games last year was a grade A, was a really strong NHL starter. And he regularly provided games like this last year. But he also, I just was having this worry that he was going to let in a weak goal all night long, right? Because that's what we last saw, and it just made such a huge impression. The play that I liked the best with him was, other than the big saves, there was a play, I think it might have been in the first period, where Ottawa shot the puck down the ice, and the Ottawa player was going to get a breakaway.
Oh, right.
But Smith came right out above the ringette line, above the circles, and played the puck and passed it up. Now, that's a play that Koskinen would have,
may or may not make.
He would have effed up, I just think. Like, he might not have even gone for it, right?
May not have tried for it.
There's a possibility he might not have gone for it, or if he did, that it would have ended up in the Oilers' net. Like a 50-50 chance at least with Koskinen going out there. Probably 75-25 it goes in the Oilers' net. So I was very grateful in that moment that Mike Smith was there to make that play. And his passing of the puck, his movement of the puck all night, he was so on. He looked good all game long. And so I gave him an 8 out of 10. I just thought he had a great game.
This was the Mike Smith I hope to see. And I'm perverse enough that I've actually been looking forward to seeing him for a while, because I'm with you. I think they just needed to change things up, and Koskinen is going to be a better goalie. for playing 7 or 6 games out of 10 as opposed to 9 out of 10, like, or 12 out of 13, like he has to this point. And we're either going to get the good Mike Smith or the bad Mike Smith. I don't think there is a mediocre Mike Smith. It's just the good one or the bad one. Tonight we got the good one, and hopefully he's going to be good to go on a little roll. Because boy, does the team ever need solid net minding, and they need 2 net minders to provide it.
He really does have personality. Eh? Like you can just see.
He's fun to watch.
He's just
I think
character. He's fun to watch. He's an entertaining player, and he did. It was a decent tandem last year in the regular season. It was good enough that the Oilers had the best winning percentage of any Canadian team last year in the regular season. Something was going right, and these goalies were part of it. So, yeah, to give you credit, Bruce, you were not in the darkest corners of the oil countries, spewing the darkest incantations against Ken Holland and Mike Smith, like some people were. You tried to understand it and you know, and see the logic of it and defend Smith a little bit. So I'll give you credit for that.
That was Plan C, Plan B. It wasn't Plan A, but
yeah,
there is a track record there, and that track record, if you can expunge somehow from your mind those 26 minutes and 32 seconds from August, which obviously I haven't expunged because I can still tell you exactly how long you played in that game. But the goalie that we saw during actual hockey season had, as you say, two nice strong runs, and the second one was a long run. Like there was a stretch from early January till just before the shutdown where he was 16 wins, 2 losses, 4 ties, or the Oilers were 16-2-4 in games that he played. But I mean, that's fine results when you only, you get points in 20 out of 22 games.
Yeah.
It's top drawer. So.
Yeah. So a lot of people will be I don't know what they'll be. The people who hate these players never seem to give them much credit when they do well. So they'll wait for the next time when they can give their Mike Smith incantation and.
We'll probably be doing it at some future point, when he plays bad. But I just don't like the assumption that he's going to play bad and that he's just a bad goalie and he's washed up and so on. I mean, look at, I don't know. I mean, unless you're the save percentage is the be all and end all, then I guess he's a bad goalie. But they play to win the game.
Bruce, my second good thing was Tyson Barrie, who I criticized heavily last game.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, he had a great game.
Mm-hmm. He did.
I think I only gave him a 7, so I should have maybe gave him an 8. But he didn't make any mistakes on a grade A chance against. He was really solid defensively, as was Darnell Nurse. Mm-hmm. And he used good judgment on the attack. Every decision that he made seemed to pay off. He was constantly pinching and winning battles. He made a key pinch on Draisaitl's goal.
Yep.
He got some deadly shots off on net that just didn't go in. So if he could bring that game consistently, Tyson Barrie would get a new contract with the Edmonton Oilers. But so let's just leave it there. Great game, Tyson Barrie. Good work. Keep it up.
Very aggressive. He made a lot of good decisions in the offensive zone, and they weren't costly behind him. There wasn't stuff going crazy wrong. Like the other night, he was aggressive in the offensive zone, but it led to quite a few crap shows. But tonight, he was on his A game, and you're right to criticize him the other night, and you're right to praise him tonight. I mean, that's the thing about these guys. They're not all the one thing, any of them. Right? Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not. Tonight, Tyson Barrie was very good.
Alrighty. Bad things?
Yeah. Yeah. I got to go with, I'm tempted to whine about those 2 penalties that the Oilers took, both of which were bizarre. But whatever. Zack Kassian, he got criticized by Coach Dave Tippett, as he wrote about in your Game Day post today, saying that he needed to become more engaged and more aggressive in the game.
To say the least, yeah.
Yeah, and he obviously took those words to heart. He, in a very early shift, maybe his second shift, I thought it was his first, dropped the gloves right off the face-off and had a tilt with very high energy, high action tilt with his counterpart number 44, Eric Goodbranson, who is a big, tough, not all that great defenseman for the Senators. And something happened in there that Kassian went to the penalty box, but then later they said he'd gone to the dressing room, and there he remained for the entire night. So he got involved in an aggressive fashion, and the outcome was he got 5 minutes in penalties, but only 33 seconds of ice time with zero real contribution to the game, and it just messed up the line combinations. It was like they were 11-7 again, only they were 11-6 this time because of the presumably injury that occurred to Kassian, and we'll wait to see what further news we get. But if he was pumped up to get involved and lay down a more aggressive tone, we really didn't get a chance to see it other than that sidebar. I think last game I listed, I think, David, in the podcast, 6 ways that I thought Kassian could become more involved in the games to help out the Oilers, and dropping the flippers was the 6th and last item on the list. So of course that was the first thing that he did. But if he's out for any length of time, well, that's a drag too. I mean, what we need is for the guy to get his crap together and start, playing hockey the way he can. And that involves, engaging. And he tried to engage, and that was the unfortunate consequence.
Yeah, fortunately they have pretty good depth on the wing. So and if they will miss him against tough teams though, like Montreal. I mean, Khaira will likely be in the lineup, I guess. Khaira, I thought, had one of his best games. Bruce, like I just want to just a brief aside on Khaira. Like when we last were seeing him, I just had that thought, like, why are you going out not hustling and playing timid hockey? And I think in the last couple games since then, we have seen someone who's made up his mind. If he is going to go down, he's going to go down with guns blazing, because he's just really working and trying to make plays. So good for you, Jujhar Khaira. That's how you should carry on this season. If you're not going to make it, just do it scraping and clawing the whole way to keep inside the Oilers dressing room. You might get ejected, but put up that good fight. And I think there is an NHL hockey player there. Bruce, my bad thing. You have a thought on Khaira?
Just that he played a hard, heavy game tonight, and he had a tilt of his own. It was first 2 of the year for the Oilers, and they were like 2 seconds apart or something.
Yeah.
In the first period, right off the bat, to try and set the tone, I guess. 141 and 143, and they were. And Khaira, wasn't a particularly open fight, shall we say, but he was engaged in that, and he was engaged in the game. He had 3 hits, and he won a bunch of puck battles, and I thought he was solid enough on the 4C spot.
I don't know why they fight when they're wearing the face shields, like the face masks. I'm sure Kassian hurt his hand hitting the guy's face mask or his helmet. It's just kind of, I don't know, takes all the fun out of fighting. Like to me, because I'm just watching, I'm just think it strikes me also that players get hurt far more often now from fighting than they used to in the past. And I don't know why. I don't know if that's right or wrong, or if it's just I'm just imagining that. But I just think in the last decade, when the players fight, it seems like everyone, like, they're always getting hurt now. Maybe it's just something that's happened with the Oilers, like with Ethan Morrow, Sheldon Surrey, now Kassian. It just seems on and on and on, the injuries that come out of fighting. So they're a lot bigger than they used to be, and there's the helmets and the face masks. So, okay, my bad thing is the goal against, just the sequence of pain on that whole thing. We're starting off Connor McDavid, the offensive zone turnover. Mm-hmm. That kicks it off. And then both defensemen, as soon as Brady Tkachuk gets the puck on the boards there, Evgeny Dadonov streaks up the ice. And Adam Larsson is a little bit out of position, a little slow getting going. Dadonov has a step on him, and Adam Larsson is not going to catch him any day of the week or year. And but I also didn't like William Lagesson, and you and I have a little bit of a disagreement on whether Lagesson's to blame, a major culprit on this. But I just saw it as Kachuk's on the board, stationary, not really moving with the puck, and Dadonov's off to the races, streaking down the ice. I just think, come on, William, you've got to recognize that guy's going to get a breakaway, and you've got to get on your horse and skate as fast as you can to cover him, and that would be the correct play, because Kachuk's not a threat in any way. The threat posed by Dadonov is monumental. The threat posed by Tkachuk at that time is he's standing still. There's no real issue. Anyway, Tkachuk puts it over Lagesson's head. Beautiful lob pass, gorgeous. Dadonov goes in, and Larson finally catches him just in time to almost make a heroic stop. But he, and this is really bad luck. This is really bad luck for Adam Larson. He put the puck in his own net. And I'm sure,
cheddar.
Yeah, top cheddar. Well, your mother keeps the cookies. Adam Larson, he's got a lot of haters out there, Bruce. I'm surprised. I see people making their Oilers lineups and they leave Adam Larson out. And I just think, honestly, I think, on what planet? Are you serious? Do you think, and it's not just because Dave Tippett likes the player, this is based on performance. But his haters are going to be all over that one, I'm sure, and have been. He was out of position and he was slow, and he's not the fastest skating defenseman. And he got caught on that play, and they scored. So he deserves criticism tonight.
They were mixed up left for right, Lagesson and Larson, on that play. And of course, McDavid made the high risk pass across at the blue line, and Tkachuk intercepted. So he made a good defensive play first. He's a whale of a young player, Brady Tkachuk. He's been impressive in these games that we've seen this last week or so with the Sens. And there was a little, I think, miscommunication as to left versus right. But I think my read was that Lagesson knew that the guy was behind him, and he thought Larson was best positioned, and he was going to cut off the pass. And he got in the passing lane. And he was, in fact, in the passing lane. The only problem was he's not 30 feet tall. So when Tkachuk scooped him, the pass landed just inside the Oilers' blue line. I'm just going, wow, what a great pass. And, of course, Dadonov is flying onto it, and Larson's doing his level best, just trying to, saw him off and prevent him from getting the shot away, which he did. Unfortunately, Larson himself took the shot and buried it top corner. But it was a strange goal, and it was kind of an ugly one and kind of an unlucky one. I thought it was a case, in Lagesson's case, like playing the pass was the threat, and he tried to play the pass, but he could not anticipate that
to block the pass.
Tkachuk was going to do it the way he did, and my hat's off to the guy making the pass. That was a whole world play in that
Essentially,
situation.
Lagesson allows a pass on a grade A chance, so that's
you could say he allowed the pass, because he isn't 30 feet tall. He should
that's right.
That part out.
Yeah. Anyway,
but he was too far from Tkachuk to close in on him to prevent, to attack the stick and puck as he was releasing. And I mean, if you have two defensemen that turn tail and run, then Tkachuk walks up the ice with it and creates something different.
McDavid would have caught him, but I don't know.
I'm going to have to look at it again. I have to say,
you allow a pass on a grade A chance against, you're allowing a breakaway, as far as I'm concerned. So, Bruce, what's your number?
Yeah, I'm just going to go with 25-25, which is the minutes of Dr. 25 Darnell Nurse play tonight. And just because he so neatly matched his sweater number in both the minutes and seconds column. But just another example of the big minutes that Darnell's been playing. I thought he was solid tonight. He and Barrie were solid. I think he was maybe one of the ones burned on that big power play chance late in the second. And other than that, very strong. 5 shots on net, 4 block shots at the good end, and just active skated miles. Played a strong game, and when you're playing over 40% of the game like that, you're having a pretty big influence. So just led the team in ice time, and was one of the bosses in what was a very strong defensive showing by the Oilers.
My number is 6.
Okay.
Number of hits from Josh Archibald.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not the biggest fan of Josh Archibald, generally speaking, because he doesn't really provide much on the attack at all. But and I know that he's a favorite of the coach, Dave Tippett, but that was the game when I'm seeing what Tippett sees in him. He just was all over the ice, winning battles, blocking shots, hitting people, hitting them hard, making plays. And
he does hit hard.
He hits hard, and he scored one empty net goal. He almost had another. Yeah. So good for Josh Archibald. He, I don't know. That whole fourth line played well. Khaira, Archibald, and Ennis, and wouldn't be surprised if we see that entire group come back. Archibald's, it's funny. He's like the separated birth from Chris Russell. They're both defense first, diminutive players who just play all heart, and not bad wheels on both of them. Although I am noticing, Bruce, is this just me? I just think Russell's slowing down. There's just moments when he gets the puck where I just think he would have skidded quicker in the past and made a better play. Just seems to have lost a step. I'm seeing. So I'm hoping to see Caleb Jones in the next game and Russell out. And maybe we'll even see Ethan Bear and Bouchard out. Bouchard had a fairly high event game, and I wouldn't be surprised if Bear is ready. I wouldn't be surprised to see Bear Jones play, and I think the Oilers will be a better team for it.
Theirs was the only pairing that was on the short end of the flow of play results. The Lagesson, William Lagesson was on the ice for 15 minutes tonight, and Ottawa had 2 shots.
What about Larson?
Right? One of which was by Larson.
That's the third time you've made that joke, Bruce.
I know. Well, it was kind of funny. 5-2 were the shots when he was out there, and 7-4 with Larson in favor of the Oilers. And in the case of Nurse and Barrie, it was 18-13, 18-11 shots on net. So way more higher event, but good event. A lot of shots by the Oilers with the first pair on the ice. As for Archibald, he's Mr. Empty Net. He now has 5 empty net goals and 2 assists during his 76 games as an Edmonton Oiler. That's more empty net points than Leon Draisaitl or anyone. He's the man when it comes to getting the empty netters. He's got 2 this year. Like I say, almost had an extra one tonight. And Tippett really trusts him out there. He's always out there in the last minute when the Oilers are defending a 1-goal lead, and he's never with his usual line, but he's out there. He not only scores empty net goals, but last year I remember making a key shot block one time, a key zone clearance another time, protecting a 1-goal lead as the clock wound down. And that's Tippett trusts him to make the big defensive play at the end. So
I don't blame him. I'm starting to think Puljujarvi at the end of the game would be a good idea too. I'd like to see the big man killing penalties, and I'm just sneaking in an extra good thing here because this was, I thought, Puljujarvi's 3rd good game in a row, Bruce.
Yeah, he was good.
And that's what I'm asking for from that player. It's that kind of consistency because he's been so up and down, but he is looking really good, and he had a great chance to score late in the 3rd period, set up for McDavid. And honestly, I see more chemistry right now between McDavid and Puljujarvi than I see chemistry between McDavid and RNH. They seem to play at the same speed, Puljujarvi and McDavid, which is fast. It's like supersonic fast. And I like them together. I think there's the makings of something there, and it's kind of exciting. It's kind of a unexpected joy to this season that's coming into the lives of Oiler fans.
Well, last time Puljujarvi played on a line that was this good, he was playing with Sebastian Aho and Patrick Laine at the 2016 World Juniors. Yeah. But playing with talent, he looked great playing with 2 talented players at that time, and he's starting to emerge now, and you can see he's excited.
Yeah.
And enjoy having fun and really seeing the opportunity and seizing the opportunity that's being presented to him.
Yeah.
So it's a big development if he continues to move in this direction, and happen a whole lot sooner than I would have guessed. I would have thought half the season at least before he worked his way up into the upper echelon of the lines. But right now, he and Yamamoto, those are your top six right wingers.
Yeah.
Took a couple of years, but here
Yeah.
they are.
I was going to say he Puljujärvi's the benefit of the underrated elixir of confidence, but I'm not sure that confidence is underrated in hockey commentary. It is talked about. It is talked about a lot, but you know what? I don't think it's one of those things like some people might say, well, grit's talked about too much or this is talked about too much. I don't think confidence is talked about too much. I think confidence makes champions. And we saw it with Glenn Sather's Edmonton Oilers when the confidence that Sather had, and he was able to teach or instill in those players. I think confidence can be taught, risk taking can be taught, and I think that Sather did it then, and we're seeing with Puljujärvi this year the huge benefit of confidence, and it's great to see. It's great to see that happen in Edmonton for once, because usually Edmonton is the place where confidence goes to die in the decade of darkness. Mm-hmm. But it's blossoming right now, Bruce, with a number of players. So good stuff.
Well, that's what I saw in Mike Smith tonight too. It's just he seemed to have that strong sense that I can contribute in a positive way. There was, I don't know, I don't want to say body language, but he just had
the savior, Mike Smith.
Yeah, the savior. Right, I forgot that part. So, it is a big part of it. I think the term is not always accurately used, but it's an important part of anything. If you think you can do something, the chances of you actually doing it are a lot better than if you don't think you can do it. So,
if people don't know what we're referring to with the savior, there was a Sportsnet tweet or headline where Smith was referred to as Mike Smith was referred to as the savior, and that got heavily mocked by people. Okay. But I think it had as much to do with the fact that his hair and his beard and his appearance looks kind of like the Hollywood version of Jesus a little bit, wild-eyed. Okay. So I think maybe that's what there was in the back of their minds when they were calling him the savior, because he's got that kind of Jesus look to him.
I thought the headline itself was mocking the Oilers. I thought
was taking a shot at us. Maybe I missed that. I probably did. I just saw it. I just saw a tweet. I don't know if I even saw the headline, but yeah, maybe they were making fun of Oilers and Oilers fans.
Here's your savior, Mike Smith.
Yeah, that
38-year-old. No, anyway.
Well,
give him credit. He came out tonight. I know the thing is, if he came out tonight and had a bad game, it would have been absolutely disastrous, and he didn't. So.
Yeah, laugh it up now, Sportsnet. Laugh it up now. All right, Bruce. Thanks for talking.
Yeah, thanks for listening, everyone. I particularly like to thank those folks that stay up and want to listen to the podcast before they go to bed. I saw a whole number of you making that comment in a recent YouTube comments section about how this kind of it's sort of the icing on the cake of a game night, and I really want to thank those people in particular for their loyalty and for listening to us.
Those comments really were encouraging, and we both remarked on it at the time, and that was very nice for all the people who said that. So I also thank them. And I thank you, Bruce. Thanks again.
Good night.
And in the meantime, and in between times, this has been another edition of the Cult of Hockey podcast.